11 Michigan lawmakers sue Michelin SOS Joselyn Benson and Michigan Director of Selections in federal court for violating U.S. and Michigan Constitution to change selection laws. Yeah. 11 Michigan state legislators have filed a lawsuit. The legislators have. That's great. That's great. The lawsuit claims the 2018 and 2022 state constitutional amendments regarding the times, places, and manner of federal selections are legally null and void. The U.S. Constitution Article 1, Section 4 requires the state legislators to regulate the time, places, and manner of federal selections. However, Michigan's constitutional amendments Proposal 3 of 2018 and Proposal 2 of 2022 bypassed the state legislature, and in doing so, usurped the legislature's federally mandated constitutional authority. So in other words, the governor just did it. The election administrator just did it and didn't even consult with the people who actually create these laws. So basically, the result from those three elections, 18, 20, and 22, should all be invalid in Michigan. These state constitutional amendments included provisions that allow voters to sign affidavits instead of presenting valid identification when voting in person or applying for an absentee ballot. 9 days of early voting, private funding of selection administration, no excuse absentee voting procedures, same-day voter registrations, state-funded absentee ballot drop boxes, and independent redistricting commissions. The lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Michigan names as defendant Secretary of State Joselyn Benson and Jonathan Bratter, Director of the Bureau of Selections. In a press conference webinar conducted today, or when was this? The 28th. In that press conference, the state senator Jonathan Lindsay, one of the legislative plaintiffs, said, in quotes, the U.S. Constitution and supreme law of the land contains limited but critical election regulations. We also have procedures in place at the state level to amend selection law. However, these procedures were violated in 2018 and 2022, and also 2020, when an alternate amendment process was used without regard to federal constitutional requirements. This law challenges recent attempts to subvert our constitutional process and will protect against such actions in the future. Lindsay said progressives had tried and failed for years to pressure elected representatives to tear down safeguards that kept the state's selections convenient and secure. As an end around, they used an unconstitutional process, then deceived the public into voting for changes that weaken our selections, he said. I don't blame voters. They were told lies that made Proposal 2 sound good. Proponents ran ads saying that this enshrines voter ID into our Constitution, when in fact, Proposition 2 guarantees the right to vote without ID, and a classic bait and switch tactic. They need to criminalize something. They need to create a law that it makes it criminal to name something, name a bill, something that it does not do. Like, for example, the Inflation Reduction Act. Absolutely does not reduce inflation at all. A lot of money was spent to deceive people. Now these unlawfully enacted changes purport to limit our power as legislators to fix serious issues with our selections. Today I stand with fellow legislators to challenge that notion. Representative Steve Carroll, a plaintiff and chair of the Michigan House Freedom Caucus, agreed. The founders of this great republic put regulating elections into the hands of the state legislators, so changes to the election process will undergo a deliberative and thoughtful process by the people's elected representatives. Additionally, attorneys for the plaintiffs include Lansing-based David Kalman and Steve Kalman of the Kalman Legal Group. Look at that. Despite the inflamed rhetoric coming from extremists, Michigan residents want their fair and secure elections. He cited a recent Honest Elections Project study that shows public support for photo ID laws has grown to an astounding 88% nationwide, with 68% strongly agreeing that photo ID should be required when voting. Promote the Vote behaved like snake oil salesmen to deceive Michiganders to amend the state constitution. They claimed it enshrined voter ID when the truth is the Proposal 2 amendment did the opposite. It allowed registrants to vote without identification.